Hey, sports fans, PB&Z Sports Chaos, and you know what time it is? It's hockey time. We got Hockey Boy PB here to lead us through our projections for this current season. We'll talk who we think's going to make the playoffs, and we'll give a rough estimate what we think is the Stanley Cup view. As you know, PB, you just said it. What about NHL?
It's a whole second season once those playoffs start.
As the Boston Bruins figured out pretty fast last year, right? Record-setting season, 65 wins, 135 points, all records, all timers, and they go out in the first round, right?
To an 8 seed, right? Out in the first round to an 8 seed, who ends up actually the 8 seed making the Stanley Cup. So case in point, it's just, and we're wearing the two, and we're representing those two teams right here with the Bruins and Panthers, right?
So let's start right at it, man. What do you think? The Atlantic. Who's the three teams coming out of it in the Atlantic?
Yeah, I mean, I really think Boston can do some damage here. I know they're off to a hot start, but what the reasoning behind it to me is that they got that 1-2 goalie punch with Allmark and Swayman that they can do throughout keep those two goalies fresh. And I wouldn't even be surprised because both these goalies right now are like top 10 in odds to win the Vezina Trophy, and they're on the same team. So maybe they could break the mold a little bit and go into the playoffs with still a shared goaltender. Because typically what teams do in the NHL, right, is they go into the playoffs and they just go with one goalie all the way through. I think this year you might see the Bruins get in and be able to then continue that shared goalie and keep the team fresh and keep the goalie going. So I like that about them. I like the acquisition of Van Riemsdyk from Philly. I think it's going to help them. Of course, I know they lost Bergy, but they still got
Krejci too. Don't forget, Krejci retired as well.
Krejci retired as well, but you still got Marchand. You still got obviously Pasta. And
by the way, a big offseason signing. I think he's going to be an impactful player. I know he's a little bit long in the tooth, as they say, but Milan Lucic is back in town, and the crowd is wild about that.
Yeah, so I actually like Boston. I think they can win the division as well. So I got Boston at the top. I got Toronto second. I think when you look at, Austin Matthews, one of the top 5 to 10 players easily in the league. They got Tavares as well. So I think that team certainly can make hay and finish second. And then in third, I have the Florida Panthers. They're a scrappy team. I'm going to see them tonight, actually. They're playing against Vancouver. And, they got some top players. Keith Tkachuk, obviously, you got to put him right in that conversation. But then there's other guys that are scrappy, that are still good. And like Verhaeghe, to me, is one of the most underrated players in the leage. And then
the difference against the Bruins last year, right?
Absolutely, right. And you still got guys like Reinhart and Barkov, and I think got good players on that team. The question mark for them so far, they've played 4 games this year. They've started Bobrovsky in all 4 games. So will they have that second goaltender that can kind of give Bobrovsky that break he needs? He's getting up there in age now. He's 35 or so, right? 36 years old. Can he carry you through the playoffs? Obviously, he showed last year that he had the ability to do that, but I'm just curious as to if he's sustainable throughout the year. So that's why I have them finishing third.
Ooh, okay.
So Toronto, Boston, Toronto, Florida.
Okay. I got Toronto, Boston flip-flopping, and I got Florida.
Okay.
All right, let's go to the Metro. What do you think in the Metro?
Yeah, it might be some surprises here. I know everyone's high on Carolina. I think Carolina may have a little bit of a rougher year than people think. I got New Jersey at the top of that list. I think Jack Hughes could be one of the best offensive players in the NHL. I love him for the Devils. So I got them at the top. I have the Rangers second. Shesterkin is probably top 5 goaltender. He's another heavy Vezina Trophy candidate favorite. So I like the Rangers, and I also like Carolina, even though I don't have them finishing at the top. A lot of people do, but I have them finishing third. So Devils, Rangers, and then Carolina.
Ooh, wow. All right. I'm falling for the press. I'm going Carolina first. I got Rangers second, and I got the Islanders in the third spot.
Oh, okay. Well, they got Sorokin, who's, again, probably maybe the favorite to win the Vezina Trophy this year. So I could see why you'd want to stick him in there. I don't have them even making the wild card though.
Oh, I got Devils and Lightning in the wild card. I was hard pressed not to put the Pens in there and Crosby, but I'm going with Lightning. I don't know, maybe not. Lightning's got some issues, as you probably know better.
They do, but I do have the Lightning in there as one of my wild cards. And who's your other one?
The Devils.
Oh, you got the okay. The other one for me is a little bit of a surprise, but I do like what I'm seeing with this team is Ottawa. They had Tarasenko. Keith Kachuk's brother, Brady Kachuk, is on the team. Yep. They acquired Claude Giroux. So I think I know he's up there in age, but he's a good veteran presence. I think this team can make some moves and sneak in as a wild card. So kind of my long shot prediction.
Ooh, okay. All right. Let's go out west. Who do you like in the Central? That's going to be a very tough division. The Central, both of these, the West is loaded, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yep. Actually, that division's called the Western Division because I think the other one's called the Pacific Division. But yeah, I like Colorado. They're hard to not like, right? I mean, to me, the West in hockey is kind of like the NFC in football. It's like you got Dallas and you got San Francisco and you have everybody else. I know you like the Eagles, but to me, it's Dallas and San Francisco, right? And I look at this and I say it's Colorado, it's Vegas, and it's everybody else. Like it would be so hard not to pick Colorado and Vegas to play in the Western Conference Finals. So I got Colorado right there. I do have Dallas second, and I got Minnesota third.
See, here's where I disagree with you. I think the West is very loaded. I think Colorado, Vegas, Edmonton, Dallas, 4 teams, all are contenders. Any one of those 4 could slip in and go into the Stanley Cup.
All right. Okay. So who do you got as the top 3 in that division?
I got Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota.
Oh, same as me. All right. Okay. That's a good one. In the Pacific, I have Vegas. They're going to be hard to beat. I mean, they're going to be hard not to pick them to repeat, actually, right? So I got Vegas. I got the LA Kings as a second team there, and I do have Edmonton getting in as the third team. The only thing that concerns with Edmonton is their defense and goaltending, but their offense is ridiculous. I mean, you got Draisaitl and McDavid could be when you look at them as a 1-2 punch, the top 2 offensive players on a pairing on a team in the NHL.
I mean, to me, that's like Kobe and Shaq or LeBron and Dwayne Wade, for crying out loud. I mean, they got 2 of the best players in the game, right? So that's why Edmonton, to me, is such a threat. But your point, they have a little bit questionable goaltending and defense. But with the 2 best players in the game, it's like the old Kings, although they had goaltending back. I mean, the Oilers back in the 90s, right? When Gretzky and the team was there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're loaded. They scared me the most. I was tempted to pick them over Vegas, but I think Vegas is just too solid up and down the lineup, right? Goaltending, and they're on a streak. And, you know, I made a mistake last year. I didn't pick them for the first time since we've been doing the show and in the cup, right? So I'm not making that mistake again.
All right.
So, and then I got in the wild card. I got the Kings.
But what's your order? So you got
I got Vegas. I do have Vegas. I got Edmonton, and I got the Kraken.
All right, I like that. All right, everything I get the Kings in there. All right, so wild card for me, I got Winnipeg because I love Halubike. He's like, to me, just one of the better goalies in the league, and so I got them there again. And then I was tossed between Calgary and Vancouver. I was going Calgary, Vancouver, and I'm going to see Vancouver tonight, so I could change my mind, but I'm going Calgary now. But I'm not going to be surprised if Vancouver gets in there as a wild card.
PB, that's why the fact that you're even like going bounce back and forth on the wild card. I mean, we're already talking about the top 6 in the league at the conference, and we're debating about the wild card because there's like 4 teams that could be there. I got the Kings and Flames, and I'm with you. It could be the Jets. It could be the Canucks. That's why I think the West is much more loaded than the East. I think the East is very defined. It's Toronto. I think Boston might be there, but I think the losses of Krejci and Bergy, that's so at the end of the day, everybody likes Carolina. I'm picking because everybody else said to. I don't know that the team ranges. Everything's questionable, I think, after the first 2 in the East. Where the West, any one of the top 4 could be the best team in my mind.
All right. Okay. It's a good one.
Who's your MVP pick?
I get a little surprised.
That's the Hart Trophy, correct?
I mentioned it. Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit earlier. I'm going to go with Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes for the Devils. I think he's going to be
There
someone.
you go. So there's there's a team in the East right now that we can add them in the mix, right? Because they got the MVP potentially. All right.
Right. I mean, it's hard to leave Connor McDavid out of that conversation. It's hard to leave Draisaitl out of that conversation. It's hard to leave, Austin Matthews, and there's a whole host of guys. I mean, Pasternak could even be in that conversation, right?
That's my wild card. I got a funny feeling, a sneaky suspicion. He takes a leap. He took a leap last year. I think he takes another leap. I got Pasta right there. I'm going to give it to Connor McDavid because, well, he's Connor McDavid, right? But at the end of the day, I Pasta's right there with him. I think he's second.
All right. I like it.
And, of course, the defenseman, the Norris Trophy, I guess it's McCurr and no one else. But if Charlie McAvoy scores a few more goals, right, and gets a few more points, he's a very good defensive player. He just has to be a little more offensive. If he becomes a little more offensive, McAvoy, he's going to get one day before he retires, don't you think?
I do. I like the way he plays for sure.
So we'll see. All right.
And
then
what about
who's the
goaltending? Yeah, I got another, might be a surprise for you, but I mean, I mentioned guys like Shesterkin earlier for the Rangers. I think he's probably right at the top of the list. But I got a surprise for you. It's Philip Gustafson. He is the goalie for the Minnesota Wild. And he's there with Marc-Andre Fleury. Marc-Andre Fleury's like 38 now, but he's still that good second veteran presence. And I think under him, I think he moves up quite a bit. So let's see how Minnesota does this year. But I think Gustafson could be in that conversation. So he's kind of like my wild card on it. But Shesterkin to me would be the favorite. And of course, you can never count Sorokin out. But I'm not in on the Islanders. So that's why I'm not counting.
Okay. I'm giving it to one of the Bruins goalies.
All right, which one?
It's going to be a Bruin. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, they're off to a good start. They've let up, 4 goals in 3 games?
You know what? I thought it was going to be. Yeah, we even said it last year in our wrap-up show. We thought that was the end. That they blew their load. Blah blah blah. They've surprised me so far. The way they've come back. Marchand being the captain. That's a little bit of a surprise because of his instigation stuff. But I think it's also a very good pick. Lucic, I think, as I said earlier, is going to have some key aspect and role in this team. And I think at the end of the day, I take it back. I think they're going to be in the mix for sure. Yeah, for sure. So Swayman, I think Swayman is going to end up being the better goalie at the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, he's a lot younger, right? I think Olmark's like 30, turning 31, and Swayman's like 24. So he might have a little bit more stamina in him. But yeah, no, it's.
So I can ask you real quick before we let this go. The Lightning, I mean, they just crashed and burned because of injuries, right?
Yeah. That's why I had him sneaking as a wild card. And I don't even know if they're going to be able to do that this year. But
I mean, the goalie's out for what? I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. I can't believe it. Yeah, he's out for what? 2 months?
Yeah, I'm not sure on the exact timing, but yeah.
That's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt.
But I'm excited. I'm gonna be inside the stadium tonight to see the Panthers play against Vancouver, and I'm going again Tuesday night. They're playing the San Jose Sharks, who kind of at the bottom of the barrel. So I'm hopefully going to go see 2 wins, but we'll see.
Speaking of the San Jose Sharks, Thornton's not there, but Thornton's still in the league, right? Jumbo Joe?
Yeah, I think he actually came over to Florida for a little while. Was it last year or the year before?
Yeah.
I think he made a little stint there.
I don't know where he's at, but I believe he's still in the league, right? I mean, he's going to be 40, right?
I'd have to Google that one. I think he's over 40. I think he's like 42.
Man, all right. Wow. All right, you heard it here. So, again, who do you think, if right now, if you had to pick a Stanley Cup playoff match, who is it?
I mean, like I said, it's hard to pick against Vegas. I mean, it's Vegas, Colorado to me, but I'll go Vegas. I think they can get back there again. And as far as the East goes, man, I'll just go the Devils. I think the Devils are going to have a historic year here ahead of them. I'm
going Toronto. Finally, they're going to break the curse. Well, not quite, because I got Vegas and they're going to repeat.
All right.
There you go. You heard it here. All right, man. I'll talk to you.
All right. See ya.